Welcome to Barely Maintaining, the ultimate podcast for die-hard Chicago Bears fans. Join your host, Ryan Burheit, and me, Michael Guyton, as we dive into all things Bears. Game analysis and player insights to the latest news and fan stories. Ryan and I cover it all. Whether cheering from Soldier Field or your living room, Barely Maintaining keeps you connected to your favorite team. Now, let's get ready to bear down. Welcome, everyone, to episode 18, November 6th, 2024, the day we're recording this. We just had a game against the Cardinals, so we'll talk about that. A loss to the Cardinals, which actually brings me to the next point we'll bring up, which is a coaching wish list. I have a couple names on the list and then a couple names that are floating around the league of availability. So your thoughts there, and I have some questions about the coaching staff and stuff for you too. See what you think. Of course, we'll do player stat trivia and much, much more. With that being said, what do you got for the news, Mr. Burheit?
All right, so news around the league. We've got the Commanders trade for the Saints cornerback Marshawn Lattimore. Raiders hiring former head coach Norv Turner as the senior advisor. Jerry Jones says Dak Prescott is probably headed to the IR. The Cowboys also traded the 2025 fourth-round pick to acquire Jonathan Mingo from the Panthers. The Bengals acquire Khalil Herbert for Bears' seventh-round pick. For Bengals' seventh-round pick.
Yeah. Doing right by him.
Yeah.
At least he gets to go somewhere and play.
Yeah.
Even though the Bengals aren't even a contender really this year.
No, but they lost their running back, from what I understand.
A seventh round? I mean, that's it?
Yeah.
I was thinking 5.
Yeah. At least. So, yeah. I also got the Browns traded the pass rusher Zadarius Smith to the Lions. Christian McCaffrey is back at practice. Broncos trade pass rusher Baron Browning to Cardinals for a 6th round. And Saints fired the head coach Dennis Allen after a loss to the Panthers. And then
it's not looking good for him down there.
Yeah. And then for updates on leaders, Bills at 7-2 lead the AFC East. Chiefs are still undefeated and lead the AFC West. Steelers at 6-2 lead the North. Texans at 6-3 lead the South. And for the North, Commanders at 7-2 lead the East. Cardinals lead the West at 5-4. Lions at 7-1 lead the North, and Falcons at 6-3 lead the South.
And that's the news from around the league. Stuff's popping up regularly. There's obviously the trade deadline is done now, but with injuries and stuff, there's always something to talk about, even if the Bears are lackluster. That being said, this game with the Cardinals, just going through the stat line out the gate just to kind of knock it out here, wasn't a great day for anyone. 22 for 41 passing with 217 yards. The rushing was abysmal. I think 69 total yards on 23 rushes. 16 of those were Swift. 3 were Roschon Johnson, and Caleb had 4 for himself for barely any yards. Passing, DeAndre Swift was the leading target, or the no, he's just the top list. I guess he's had the 6 targets on 6 receptions for 31 yards. Dunze had 6 targets for 5 receptions for 104 yards, so he had kind of his best day.
Mm-hmm.
Keenan 10 targets for 4 reception on 36 yards. Not really his fault. A lot of those were kind of not well thrown balls. And then Roschon Johnson and Gerald Everett to kind of round it out. Torrey Taylor had a day punting, other than a couple, I don't know if that was a play call or what the deal was on that safety, which was later in the game. But I didn't like that call either. I mean, they called a safety on a low block, which was kind of in the midsection, and it's supposed to be called when you're engaged with somebody else. And he kind of was engaged and released and then got hit. So, and then you call safety on it, and then
punt the ball, which goes like 4 yards, but 90 yards straight up.
Yeah. I don't know what the heck happened to Torrey there. That was weird.
I don't know if it was Torrey or if they was trying to do an onside punt. Is the kind of because they kind of mentioned it in the commentary, but I'm like, I don't even know if that is a thing.
The whole Cardinals team called fair catch.
Yeah,
instantly. That was crazy.
Which they said. I listened to the NFL Network, and they said that really everyone can, but it doesn't matter. It just stops you from being hit by other players. But if you're not within a few yards of the ball, people can rock you anyway. So
yeah.
It's not doing anything by calling it, other than protecting people that are near that ball if they get the ball. But
yeah.
But that was just like one thing after another. It was bad coaching. In my opinion, I put on the sheet this week that it was a record-setting coaching malpractice, leaving Williams out there, the bad play calling, the not taking any accountability, just it's adding up.
Yeah.
And I've really tried to be an advocate because we said early on when we started this podcast, we would, try to be positive and bring a positive spin to it, but I've been riding with this coaching staff, but it's bad. And you're 0 for 18 or something crazy on Sunday away games. And
I texted you, and that was the moment I lost faith, was the halftime coming out when Eberflus just said, "We got each other. We can do this. We just gotta play better."
I literally wrote back, that made me even angrier.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not even mad that you're like, hey, we're not executing. I told him the score and we said we're going to stay together. No, you said we're going to stay together, and everyone looked at you like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Because I look at other coaches that are instantly pretty good, like the Sean McVays and the young guys, the Matt LaFleur's. It's possible. It's despite roster, it's play calling and GM and all that matter. And now because Poles rode so hard for Eberflus, I'm like lost confidence in him.
Yeah.
Plus you have the Chase Claypool deal, Velus Jones Jr. you drafted, and now you've got rid of Khalil Herbert for nothing.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, Fields for nothing.
Yeah.
Like I get getting all right by him and everything, but
you could have also just held on to him for 1 year.
Yeah.
And just let him be a free agent after this year, and let him take the beatings that Caleb is taking. Yeah. And Caleb, because there's not any. I don't have a problem with a quarterback sitting and developing a little bit at least.
Yeah, and then honestly, it made me a little upset at the trade deadline too. Like, did we give up on the year? Like, is the year over at this point? Like, yeah, we'll get our wins. Like, I think we'll win this week. And if we don't, oh man, I'm gonna have a meltdown.
Yeah, we're facing a team that is struggling more than we are.
Yeah,
because they're going through a transition from a dynasty, and that whole regime is gone. So they're right for the pick. And so if we can't compete, there's like much bigger. There's a culture issue or something.
Yeah.
But right now I've lost confidence in even the ownership. It's like McCaskey's like look at Washington. They got rid of Dan Snyder. They got new ownership. They got all new coaching staff. They got a second quarterback picked in the draft, and now they're like the darlings of the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
we're just a joke again.
Just to that point, we didn't make any moves, and we got Jaquan Brisker. Montez Sweat was on the injury report. Kyler Gordon, Andrew Billings, who was getting surgery on his pec, so he's done for the season. So in the middle, you don't need anybody there. It's like I don't know.
That's
I don't want to
already been struggling.
I don't want to get rid of mortgage the future, but we're still in this thing.
Yeah,
we're 500, right?
Yeah, it's just scary because to not invest in anything, there's teams that are obviously selling. The Browns are selling, like everybody's selling. We have a rookie quarterback that's getting killed. Literally getting killed. And you made the move
of more selling than you did buying.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, obviously you didn't get much for them, but you're getting rid of pieces and nothing in return.
Right. And you basically just got a roster spot out of that. Like, I get 7th round miracles happen and they turn out. Like, they could be a Brock Purdy. But that doesn't happen often. It's a practice squad guy or somebody that ends up getting cut later on most times.
Yeah, or developmental player that, you know, you're not going to see for 2 years.
Yeah, but to get nothing from that and then to do nothing and then allow, like, Caleb should, like, that game was out of reach. Caleb should not be in anymore. Like, he's taken unnecessary hits for no reason. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, that's the problem I have, like, with nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you could just picked up some veteran, or, you know, I'm sure there was a couple pieces. I literally have seen so many names be floating around because everyone's been talking about offensive line all year. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to not even shaking any offensive line trees and seeing what falls out. You know what I mean?
And not getting rid of the pieces that, like Nate Davis or Tevin Jenkins, like anything like that. Not getting rid of those pieces that, like Nate Davis is just chilling, getting paid for doing nothing.
It's so now it's like we're 4-4, and what is our direction?
Yeah.
Are we still early stages of rebuild, or was this thing that those after that first, you know, the first couple losses when we got moving before the bye, essentially, is that the direction? And I don't understand why you don't just throw Khalil Herbert out there when the running game's not working and see if he can just change up the speed a little bit.
He's dressed. Like,
yeah. Ram him up the middle of once. You know, you're doing it with Swift anyway and barely with Roshan. So
I'm going to be excited to see him go out there and play for the Bengals, though. Like, I'm going to root for him, obviously, unless he's playing the Bears.
I feel like the Bengals, as bad as their record is, they're a good team, I still feel like.
Yeah.
Burrow is my quarterback on my fantasy team, on both my fantasy teams. I'm in 2 leagues, and he's very good as far as the points gathering. You know what I mean? Even in losses. So I don't know. I hope he does good too. He deserves it. He earned a spot, and then kind of, I just don't understand what happened there.
Yeah, it just seemed like they just forgot about him and didn't want to use him
makes
anymore.
Me wonder if there was something internal, like a coaching dispute he had, or I don't know. You know what I mean?
Why not get rid of him earlier at that point then? Like,
exactly. That's why I'm like, it's so confusing on what could it be?
Yeah, it's just, it seems like all these things are just adding up. And honestly, this is the first game we've been blown out of too. Like,
yeah, it didn't look like we weren't we didn't have the talent level to compete.
Yeah, because every game we've been, we've lost the 4 now. The 3 other ones were a possession.
Yeah, and none. Exactly. And most of the time we had that possession and just couldn't convert at the end on 2 of them, I think. Anyway,
it came down to having a rookie.
Well, and one of them was a Hail Mary. I mean, you know what I mean. So that was a lucky one anyway. But there's that Hail Mary. It really screwed with our psyche. I feel like.
Yeah.
That he's not. There's a hangover from it. It feels like a little bit, and he's not gotten them. Eberflus hasn't gotten the team back.
Yeah. What's
and then
crazy
Tyreek Stevens being like the soundboard for all week on every NFL channel. It's like, what is he saying?
Yeah. What's crazy too
what he
is
does.
Like, that comes back, like, we had a bye week before that too. Like, since our bye week, we've fallen apart. That is crazy.
This is how I thought we'd look at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Is out of a bye week.
Yeah.
And it's like all that sitting down talking about what we're doing, different whiteboard stuff. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
We went to bye week and said, okay, we're going to do everything like we were doing it when it wasn't working.
Yeah.
But we're going to go in harder this time and not change anything. So to your point there, that halftime speech, whatever it was, interview, he lost me. If he hasn't lost the team or not. And I liked Eberflus because that defense has looked elite.
Yeah.
But man, if you are letting guys like Stevenson do those things and, you know, you're benching him and then he pulls himself out of practice because he's benched, and then he's in the game anyway, and all those things. I mean, it's like,
yeah.
But I also don't want to be back in that cycle that we have been in, which is like GM, coach, quarterback, GM, coach, quarterback. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That being said, let's talk about the Happy Can for a second. When we come back, we'll talk about some coaches.
All right, Bears fans, before we dive back into the game talk, we've got a shout-out to today's sponsor, the Happy Can.
Yeah, if you're looking for a refreshing way to unwind after a long day without the alcohol, but with all the chill vibes, the Happy Can is definitely where it's at.
The Happy Can is a lab-tested, vegan-friendly, alcohol-free beverage that's infused with THC and CBD. Whether you're kicking back at home or catching up with friends, it's the perfect way to relax without the hangover.
Exactly. It's crafted for those of us who are over 21 and want to enjoy the benefits of THC and CBD without any of the alcohol. Plus, it's delicious, responsibly sourced, and did we mention, it's vegan-friendly.
Yep, no sketchy ingredients, just pure chill in a can. So if you're looking for something new to sip on, grab yourself a Happy Can and keep those good vibes going.
Make sure to check them out on buythehappycan.com and use code BARELYHAPPY for a special discount for just our listeners. Cheers to a happy, healthier way to unwind.
The Happy Can, because life's better when you're chill.
Make sure you check them out, everyone, buythehappycan.com. So, that being said, let's go coach shopping, shall we? I feel like obviously the first place to turn to is kind of like successful teams, right? And who their coordinators are, because that's kind of like logically where they usually where it usually goes. So if you had that itinerary pulled up, I put on Brian Flores, Bill Belichick, and Cliff Kingsbury because those are kind of some of the coaches candidates that are floated around. But
yeah,
obviously you have Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator from the Lions. Also their defensive coordinator, who, let me see, what's his name? Aaron Glenn. So both sides of the ball there, depending on what you're looking for. Joe Brady's out there. Mike Vrabel's still floating around. Clint Kubiak, Brian Flores, who has head coaching experience. Kind of now that him suing the NFL is all behind him and stuff, it seems like he's kind of on his redemption arc. And he knows the division. So what are your thoughts there? And I guess my first question would be is, say Eberflus wins out. Do you want to keep him? Even if he wins out? Or even if he does, is he still gone?
If he wins out, it'd be tough.
Yeah, wins out.
The problem is
wins out. That's beating Green Bay, Lions, and Vikings twice.
Yeah, which is tough. But not gonna happen.
The possibility is very, very slim. You're exactly right. But say he does, against all odds, you gotta keep him, don't you?
Yeah, I would say you have to, but
because at that point you're in the playoffs too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a 4-loss team and swept the division?
It's just terrifying because what happens if he happens to lose the team a little bit again? Because it seems like the moment...
Or goes to the playoffs, you keep him, and he still does shitty in the playoffs, and then we start all over again next year with this shit. So, do you keep him?
I think you almost have to.
Yeah.
But
is that the only way he keeps his job is if he wins out in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean...
He has to, right? Because he's got to do great things. He's done nothing significant yet.
I think make the playoffs keeps his job.
Yeah.
In my heart, he's done. In my heart, in my mind and heart right now, I can't trust that as soon as some pressure comes up with some players, it's not all going to fold again. Because... As soon as some player things started happening, the whole team fell apart.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy.
It was a very shaky facade.
Yeah.
To be, a very shaky front fascia to begin with. If that's you got one Hail Mary lost, and it's like, well, okay, we're starting all over. Yeah. Rebuild this thing. Also, I mean, us Bears fans in general are like, the sky is falling every time we lose, no matter what. Yeah. It's like, okay, we've gotten 2 in a row. I get it, but we do have a rookie quarterback. I just in reference to Flus, I don't think he's done anything significant. He has no significant wins. He actually has a lot more significant losses. You know what I mean? These games where the probability of us winning is over 90% and we lose.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a stat that was
Sunday
like
on the road.
there's 4 or 5. You know, that right there. I mean, that gets anybody else in the league fired. Don't mention it to Brian Flores.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who has the African American thing and was like, you know, we don't get a fair shake. It's like Eberflus doesn't have to win and he gets to keep his job.
Yeah.
But I'm in the same boat, and I don't want him to win out because I don't want to even have to think about that.
Yeah.
I'd rather just him be gone. I do want to still have a successful team, don't get me wrong, and make the playoffs, or even, you know, give some people a run for their money and spoil their playoff hopes at least. But it just is not like what you see in Green Bay or what you see Shanahan doing or what LA did when Sean McVay came in. So, like with these young guys, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sick of the recycling stuff, and Bears recycle the same coaches from the regimes that aren't successful anymore.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, oh, yeah, Eberflus was in the Shanahan thing. It's like, was he, though?
Yeah.
Maybe his dad. And
wasn't Shane Waldron, like, not good at Seattle?
I mean, I think he had the same complaints that similar complaints, I feel like, from their fan base that our fan base had again of Luke Getsy, who just got fired as well. You know what I mean? So,
does he actively hate Cole Kmet?
I wonder that.
Like what?
Or just tight ends in general?
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be like a super tight end guy.
And he doesn't use one of the like best in the league. Like actively. You would
also like when you have a line that's just getting shredded, why aren't you putting 2 tight ends out there?
Yeah.
Just block, man. You can put one freaking
literally
wide receiver.
Put Mercedes Lewis out there.
Yeah.
It's what he's good at.
And then you have a wide receiver and then put DeAndre Swift as a wide receiver as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a play caller, but I just, from a layman's standpoint, it feels like you could be doing way better on the scheming of the talent you have.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt like it's coaching malpractice, is because we have so much talent that's like underutilized.
Yeah.
It's like Roshan Johnson, 3 rushes. Okay, he's not even getting a chance to get going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why not use him for a quarter? Especially when you could put him out there with DeAndre Swift if he's catching the ball. You know what I mean? So he's a threat to be in the slot or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they do with Saquon and all those guys.
I would love to see a stat of how many times we're in shotgun and like both of them are out there, because that's not happening, right?
Not like it used to, kind of in the old regimes where you'd
like,
see. I was like, it was at least was a cool look, you know.
Yeah.
And then you know, it's to me there's a
can catch too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's like play building that you have to do where you run that set and you run different things off it a whole bunch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it sets stuff up later because they expect it to go to DeAndre Swift and then you go to Roshan or whatever. You know what I mean? And there's none of that setting up plays.
Yeah.
So any thoughts? I guess my thought would be like, who would be your top guy in your book? I'm really kind of leaning towards Ben Johnson because I like that Lions offense.
Yeah.
This defensive thing doesn't seem to be happening for us right now, you know?
Yeah.
As long as he got a defensive coordinator that was good, offensive guy is fine by me.
I like Ben Johnson because they have a lot of weapons there and he utilizes all of them. Even
he's just playing around now.
Yeah. He literally is just, they're up by 40 points, so screw it. Who wants the ball?
He's doing Madden stuff, you know? He's like, just run. Yeah, dusting off the playbook. Let's try this one, boys.
I have yet to see him line up at the 1 and then be 15 yards behind to start the ball.
They have more touchdowns than incompletions in the last 6 games.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. More touchdowns than incompletions. It's insane. They have an average of 4 incompletions per game.
Yeah.
We have an average of 4 incompletions per drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what would be like my all-time, like, if we could make this happen, I would be super excited. Bring like Ben Johnson on, and then move Eberflus into defensive coordinator. But it will never happen.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't, and it's almost like a Jets thing, right? Where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, you're demoted, but and it's like this is like when I look at the Jets, I'm like, how are you guys functioning over there?
Yeah.
Fired the coach, kept the offensive coordinator, demoted him. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of I don't know, a lot of
Also,
baggage in the room.
also rebuild the Packers but in Jets uniforms.
Yeah. Everybody that used to play Packers 5 years ago, what are you doing? I'm just so surprised I haven't seen Bakhtiari show up yet.
Yeah. They're a lineman injury away from him signing up.
Yeah. And I love how Rodgers keeps throwing shade at the Bears.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, look at your life, okay?
Yeah.
Um,
How's your ankle?
Yeah, so I think obviously we both kind of lean towards Ben Johnson. We both see him in division, which is a win-win. At the very least, you get rid of their offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Because I really don't like. I think if you get a good defensive coordinator, and you start becoming a little bit more offensive minded, like I think we are fine. We've got a great defense.
That's what won us the '85 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The '85 Super Bowl was Mike Ditko as offensive guy, right? And then you had Buddy Ryan. That was the elite defense.
Yeah.
And they hated each other.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
From my standpoint right now, because the game has gone towards really wanting offenses to succeed.
Yeah.
So you really need to be able to score more points than really. It's more about outscoring than it is stopping as much. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the teams that just overspend on defense just aren't having the success. Because, I mean, look at Raiders with Max Crosby and stuff. It's like, what are you doing? That poor guy is not going to see a win the rest of the season.
I honestly think Matt Nagy could have been a great coach for the Bears, but we kind of let him down. That was like not a great defense for him and stuff. Like he took, I mean, honestly, a double doink away from him taking us pretty deep into the playoffs. Right? That was him, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With Trubisky
we were in the playoffs with Trubisky, and that's like is also crazy because that was kind of like a Ryan Pace failure more than it was a Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
But Nagy also did the kind of same thing that Eberflus does, where it was like he would lose the team because it was like you're a couple crappy play calls away from, these cute screen passes and Philly specials that it's like, well, we're not good enough, man.
Yeah.
Like you got to build that up.
He didn't have the team that could have made his team great.
His hands were tied because Ryan Pace was, getting Kevin Whites and and that matters. And it's obviously so hard to put those pieces where you're drafting the right pieces because even the good ones are not going to draft good pieces all the time. And then the other side of it is the coaching to the pieces that you do get.
Dang, Nagy was with us for 4 years?
Yeah.
It did not seem like he was there for that long. I don't know why.
No, it was one of those a COVID year?
2018 to 2021. So
yeah. So that COVID year, that's why we really didn't see any. No one was yelling about him or anything because it was kind of that COVID year.
Yeah.
So the other thing, Brian Flores, which he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit, defensive coordinator for Minnesota Vikings. I like him as well. Yeah. But to that point, I would rather shop for offensive guys and then get a defensive coordinator.
He's been a head coach before, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. He was the Miami, and then he sued the NFL because he didn't get a fair shake or something. I don't remember what it was, but I don't exactly even know what happened with that. But he's still around the league.
Yeah.
He was he was the coach that was that Tua said that he didn't give him the time of day or whatever. So that's why he makes me a little nervous on a quarterback, a young quarterback.
Yeah, I think we get an offensive quarterback or coach because that's what we need right now. Like we have a great defense. And a defense that could honestly lead itself if it had a good defensive coordinator ahead of them. And then have offensive mind to bring these guys together on the offense. Find some offensive linemen and bring them together because it's rough. It's rough to watch.
Yeah, it is. And I mean,
And Shane Waldron ain't it.
no. There's enough sample size now where you've had enough opportunities. Those goal lines, man, it's like, why aren't you just studying that and figuring out what works best? It's like you made everyone hate Doug Kramer, and it wasn't even his fault. You know what I mean? That play should have worked, really. But I think we're gonna go with an offensive minded coach and get a defensive coordinator, even a young mind, maybe some from college, that can do some innovative stuff. But the defense, I think we're really missing Jaquan Brisker. I think that's one of the pieces. Him and Kyler Gordon, I think, are why this defense has looked really lackluster last couple weeks. And the big thing with me was that play at the end of the first half when they ran for 60 yards for the touchdown or whatever. They just weren't. Nobody was trying tackle. Nobody was doing nothing. It was just lackluster. So, So let me
get 2 more wins if we play like we did.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the schedule.
Which will be this week.
And then maybe the Seahawks.
And that's depending on
what Seahawks show up and what Bears show up.
Yeah.
But, like, realistically, Packers just have our number. Like, let's just be honest right now. Like, let's be fairly honest with each other right now that even if they're not the greatest Packers team, they have our number, whatever it is. I would love to at least
you're
split
right.
that with them.
And they've had our number for a decade.
Yeah. I would love to at least split that with them, but if we show up like we did last week, ain't happening. Vikings, they're getting kind of back in the rhythm, and that might be a little bit of a good game here and there, but realistically, I think they beat us both times, and we're not beating San Francisco if the right San Francisco team shows up. And the Lions will just
Christian McCaffrey just came off IR, so he has a 3-week window now to either be on IR the rest of the season or start playing. So if he's playing, that's a different team too.
We're gonna get a pissed off McCaffrey.
Yeah.
If he's back. And then the Lions are just going to play with us. Like, they're going to have all kinds of fun.
Yeah. Ben, this is your audition. You don't even got an audition, man. Just take it easy on us. We already want you.
So
he's like, I'm going to show them they want me.
I'm going to show them they should have
But he already got offered a job somewhere, I think at Carolina, and he was like, nah, I got unfinished business in Detroit.
Yeah.
But it was more about he probably saw what was happening around Carolina. I was like, I don't want no part of that.
I'm rooting for them to go to the Super Bowl. Like, obviously, I'm rooting for the Bears first and foremost, but at some point, we have to be realistic, right? Like, after watching last week, it's rough to get excited. Like, I'm going to be watching every game, obviously, and going to root for them and going to be so happy next week. This is going to be a whole different podcast next week if they show up and beat the crap out of them because we're going to have excitement again.
Yeah.
Just to be let down, to be honest.
That's exactly right. It's way easier to go in knowing instead of having false expectations, thinking. Yeah. Which I've kind of like tried to keep the hype down, but man, there was some like flashes of really good team on both sides of the ball there. From mediocre teams, of course, but the NFL is the NFL, man. It's any given week, Carolina's won a game.
You're kind of having that feeling with college, like I am right now. Like I feel like both teams, man. There's so much. Like right now, we haven't been playing our for the Hawkeyes, right? So we haven't been playing Sullivan this whole time. We just put 40 up on Wisconsin. Like Caleb Johnson got 130 yards and Brandon Sullivan only had to throw it like 10 times.
It was like Kirk Ferentz was like digging around his freaking glove box in his old truck, and it's like, she had a good quarterback.
Yeah. But dude, like, and then it's going, and then you go to Sundays. It's like this team could be so good, and we're not right now. Like it's sometimes it's tough to watch. It just sucks.
It's crazy because Alabama's fighting for the life at ranked 11th right now. It's like, oh, they're expanding the playoff. Alabama will definitely be in. We'll probably be top 4. Now we're just like, oh, we'll be lucky if we get in that 12th spot. You know what I mean? And we got LSU this week in LSU, which is a really hard place to
Yeah.
win, even if they aren't good.
I have a little section
Yeah.
where I'm going to bring up some around all the leagues, kind of some fun things I saw over the week. But
Nice.
that's going to be part of that. But there's a lot of controversy with the playoff bracket from what I saw.
Yeah, to be expected, right?
Yeah.
I remember back when it was just the national championship
BCS
was just
championship, yeah.
yeah, and it was like everybody was mad except for 2 teams,
But I secretly love that because it was a computer system that said
Yeah,
took all the stats
it took a
from
lot of the
these teams that
subjectiveness
these
out
teams
of it.
beat,
Yeah,
and these teams
Yeah.
beat, and and it did the
Yeah.
whole computer system of, hey, this team beat this team, and that team beat that team, so theoretically they should be able to beat that team.
So
And
if you beat Appalachian State and they had beat Michigan earlier in the year, that was a huge win for them. That was a big win for it meant something.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't really as much.
No,
But-
it's a committee
I
that
think
wants
the
to make
playoff-
money.
Yeah, totally. But the playoff does make more parity available, so those
Yeah.
Iowa States and some of those teams could possibly get in.
Except for they
probably
got
not,
janked.
probably not now, but still, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's college football for you. They keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick
rant.
break. No, that's okay. I understand. I mean, I miss Nick Saban. If you're all about expressing yourself through what you wear, then you got to check out Dead Threads. They've got the most wicked collection of t-shirts that scream individuality. Want vintage vibes with your favorite team? Dead Threads has a tee for every vibe and every occasion. Whether you're chilling at home, hitting the streets, or even host your own podcast. Make sure to use code BARELY for 10% off. And tell them Fairly Maintaining sent you. Oh, so now we got our game against the Patriots. They're vulnerable, yeah, but so are we. So
Yeah.
expectations, thoughts. What do you think could happen? There was one thing I didn't mention about the last game, or that I wanted to bring up real quick that I saw in an article by Courtney Cronin from ESPN. She was writing about what the Bears' problem is, and it's lack of protection, obviously, like everyone says. But
Right.
there was a stat that I wanted to read that Williams has been sacked 29 times, third most in the NFL. He is on pace to be sacked 62 times this season, which would be tied for the 6th most in NFL history. So you better do something quick, man.
Yeah.
You need to start scheming up protection first and foremost over anything.
Yeah.
You know?
It's scary
I just want to make sure
because-
you heard that stat.
Yeah. What happens if he gets hurt? Like, we just put all this effort into him, and we're literally letting him run for his life. And people, and like the Justin Fields lovers that and trust me, I still I like Justin Fields as a player. Like, it's still fun to watch when he gets the chance to do have one of his really good games and stuff.
Yeah.
But he holds onto the ball a little too long sometimes to make a play. And
Yeah.
the people that loved him and stuff that wanted to never see him leave, and I understand that it's tough to keep saying goodbye to quarterbacks over and over again, but they'll say that Justin Fields or Caleb Williams is doing the same thing, but it's literally different because Justin Fields would run around and just look for players nonstop while really not being rushed that bad half the time. Caleb is trying not to die. They're well, why don't you throw it away? He can't. He's so focused on not getting hit for the moment that even the plays where he's gotten clear pocket, he's still nervous because he's getting hit nonstop.
And I mean, honestly, the big difference is because it's very similar in the there's not protection.
Yeah.
But he protects the ball.
Yeah.
Justin didn't protect the ball. So the high is probably higher for Caleb, but the low is way lower for Justin.
Yeah.
Because there was those, sacked, fumble, 20-yard losses all the time, just drive killers. So I agree. I mean, they're going to make that comparison no matter what. And Justin is great when he's great, but he's not consistently great is the problem. And we're seeing that no matter what coach. He's got a great coaching staff, and that Art Smith or whoever, is supposed to be an offensive guru that's in the Steelers. And we saw he was throwing for less than 200 yards a game.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm the same way. I love Justin. His athletic ability is second to none. And if you had him in a role like the Saints put Taysom Hill in, where you don't know if he's throwing or running or whatever, that I think he excels at.
Yeah.
Like when it's not depending on making reads and reading the whole defense anyway. Maybe one read. You know what I mean? Hey, if this guy's running down, you pass it out. If he's not crashing down, you know what I mean? Make it simple.
Yeah.
But again, I'm a layman, so it's like, how are these guys not figuring out? What is Shane Waldron like? I don't understand how you're not protecting more.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. You're looking at your 5 guys and say, you're doing a great job. Just keep it up. It's like, nah, here's another tight end, and then we're going to stick someone in the backfield as a fullback, because why not? Especially for running. Like, they try to do these screen passes and stuff. It's like, that ain't working, man. Everyone watches tape. They see the screen passes don't work. We're not able to do it. So, quit doing that. It's like run the ball. I would say even just do like I formation or a strong, one way or the other, and just pound it right behind whoever your best lineman is right now, which seems to be Tevin Jenkins, I guess, so that left side.
Yeah.
So I think we do come away with a win this week, though, because at this point, Eberflus is coaching for his life, and
God, I hope so.
and they got another meeting, get together, sit down, and talk about stuff. So, Montez Sweat wasn't out there either, and he's supposed to be back this week, so that's a huge piece. I think that's the difference in him being, and us getting blown out and not really,
Yeah, and they've got a rookie quarterback too. That's, still trying to learn as well. It also looked great though. Like Drake May looked pretty good.
He was injured last week or got injured last week.
Had a concussion or something, right?
Yeah, he was questionable. Yeah. I would like to know what concussion Jaquan Brisker got.
Yeah,
because that guy's brain must be scrambled.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 3 weeks now, 3 games.
Yeah. It's been weird.
That worries me, as far as his safety.
Yeah.
Because it's happened at least one other season, maybe 2. Multiple games.
Yeah. Unlikely to turn this week too.
Yeah, that they already said, Eberflus already said, and I know that we talked about it before. Thursday is really the day, right?
Yeah.
As far as missing practice and stuff, but November 6th we had Jaquan Brisker, Darrell Taylor, who's a defensive end, Noah Sewell, who's linebacker, Montez Sweat, which is questionable, it logged limited practice. Tyler Gordon, hamstring will be limited practice, and Andrew Billings is out. We won't see him the rest of the year. He's getting he's getting surgery. So that really, it was my question. I was like, why didn't you find something? Because he was our big run stopper in the middle, like the Vince Wilfork type dude,
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. And our defensive line is like we all been screaming about getting an edge rusher anyway, opposite of Sweat. So now you got 2 pieces you need on the line. And a whole offensive line, really.
Yeah.
Because Jenkins can't stay healthy. We're on a 3rd string Larry Borum on the left tackle position, I think, or left guard. We're running basically a backup center, and then I think Matt Pryor has been pretty good on the other side, in place of Davis.
Yeah.
And I don't see Braxton Jones or Darnell Wright on the injury list still. Darnell Wright suffered an MCL sprain in the loss to the Cardinals, but I think he's back. And then Kieran Amagaji was questionable, but I think he's back too.
But he was. But again, those people through a bunch, wasn't he?
What's that?
Wasn't
he got? He
get back.
He had a couple. he had a couple bad plays, and that's what everyone was like paying attention to. But he was pretty good for I think the moment was pretty big for him at the beginning, and he got settled in a little bit.
Okay.
But he needs a lot of work. I mean, he's a rookie, and he was raw to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do like him getting that playing time, but I'd rather it be like junk time and we're winning rather than somebody's injured and we have to have him out there.
Yeah.
So this week, what do you got for player stat trivia? I'll wrap up from last week, and then this week moving. Did you have any?
Yeah. So last week we did. The first one was played for the University of Tennessee of Chattanooga. Was twice named first team All Southern Conference, 137th overall in the 2011 draft, 5 NFL teams, and was the one that was arrested on the 9th of August in 2023 in Canada for the bank fraud and fraudulent checks for like $100,000. That is Daryl Frank Buster Skrine.
Buster?
Yeah.
Did not know that one.
I didn't realize he had 2 more names before Buster Skrine.
I did not either. I was like, I don't. You said that. I was like, I'm not right.
Yeah, that was one of the more interesting facts, and even this man was arrested for bank fraud.
He was one of those guys I really wanted to be way better than he was.
Yeah.
He was like, I think Madden had him at like a low 70s, and that was like a perfect score for him. A couple flashes here and there, but that was a good one. I did not know that he was one for bank fraud. I feel like he's playing, is he not?
I don't think so.
No?
I think he retired.
Okay.
Last couple of years. It's been recent though. The second one was played for the University of Washington, where he originally played tight end. In his sophomore year, he was moved to defensive end. Ended college career with 64 tackles, 29 for loss, 15 sacks, 1 interception, 2 passes defended, and 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. 47th overall in the 2004 NFL Draft. Had to attend the circuit court for a request to leave state of Illinois in 2006 Super Bowl following arrest for gun charges, 3 NFL teams, and then ended up creating the counseling program called Moving the Chains, which helped ex-offenders learn from their mistakes. That is Terry Tank Johnson.
Yeah, I was going to say Tank.
Yeah.
I didn't know all the other stuff. I just knew, for some reason, I knew that draft. There was a couple guys in that draft, because I lived in California. They went to the Super Bowl. He was on that team. You know what I mean? So I remember a lot of those guys, and kind of researched them and stuff. So Tank I did get. Buster I did not.
And the last one is played for Duke University or University of Duke. I'm still not 100% sure which way you say it. 96 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 20 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, and 25 returns for 231 yards. Was an undrafted free agent in 2022 and has been on 2 NFL teams. That is Josh Blackwell.
Blackwell, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I only got Tank this week. I did not know that one either.
This week,
Blackwell, he's like he's like Buster now, kind of, to me. You know, he's actually, I think, better than Buster was, though. Yeah. He's an up and comer. He's young, right?
Yeah. 22 draft. So I think I don't think he was like an old guy in the draft either. So I think he's fairly.
I hope he does well. I mean, he's had a couple big plays this year.
Yeah.
So
he's the one that picked that off after filling in for one of them. I can't remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stevenson, I believe, or somebody.
Yeah. This week,
or maybe it was Kyler Gordon.
A legendary week. All right, so all 3 are going to be legends.
Right. Excellent.
All right, so the first one here is played at Baylor University. In overall in his NFL career, he had 1,488 tackles, 7 interceptions, 12 fumble recoveries, 19 sacks. He was picked 38 of the 1981 draft. His brother was killed in an accident where his room filled with fumes from a coal stove, and then not too long after that, the man he looked up to as a father figure died in a 6-car accident caused by a drunk driver. Lots of tragedy in this man's life.
Should not be friends with this guy.
was a Super Bowl champ, 2-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, NFL Man of the Year, 7-time first team All-Pro, and 10-time Pro Bowler, and also a TSL champion as a coach, which is the Spring League. It was a league created, I guess, for like trying to build up prospects, basically. There was like no salaried players or anything. I got into a deep dive of what the TSL was after seeing that.
Developmental league, but is it still in existence?
I don't think so. Not that I saw.
It's weird that the NFL doesn't really have a developmental league.
Yeah, because like there's the G League and stuff for NBA, but it's just basically college for.
And honestly, just a little known fact, it used to be like a minor league, and the Quad Cities used to have the Quad City Thunder here in town. And it was really cool because it was competitive, because you would see like good college players that hadn't made the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a good step down of talent, but you'd still see all the cool stuff, guys dunking and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think Cedar
NFL,
Rapids
what are
had
you
one way
doing?
back when too.
Yeah. I guess it's probably too expensive healthcare wise to have a minor league football, because you're still getting the same amount of beat up, but the money's not there, for TV contracts and all that.
Any guesses on that one? Obviously, you're not going to say it right now, but
I have a few guesses. Yeah. I have one that it's kind of floating around because you said Baylor, so
yeah.
There's a few guys I know that were Bears, that Baylor Bears and also Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
But no, not certain. I'm saying like 67% on that
67?
one.
All right.
More than half, but not very much.
So second one here is played at Pittsburgh University. His NFL stats were 427 receptions, 5,812 yards, 43 touchdowns, Super Bowl champ, NFL champion, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, 2-time first team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3 NFL teams as a player, 3 NFL teams as a coach. Had his own Vienna beef sausage that was 8 inches long and 1/3 of a pound, and was arrested of a DUI returning from a game against the San Francisco 49ers.
Called his sausage the home wrecker. You know what I mean?
I knew that stat would get you, but I was like, this has to be on here. This provides absolutely nothing, but it's so awesome. It came in 2 flavors.
Please tell me it's Mike Singletary.
Nope.
What? Okay. I was looking out for you, Mike.
One was a chicken sausage, and then the other one was like a jalapeno cheddar or something, but it came in 2 flavors.
Savage. Holy. I mean, that's marketing if you really.
Yeah.
Mine would be Little Smokies. Teriyaki flavored.
Oh man. All right, and then the third one here is, so the college he played at is a little tough. So he technically was drafted from Columbia University, but his first 3 years were at an undergraduate school, was College for Education of Teachers, which was an undergrad school of Columbia. So it's really hard to find his stats in college. But he was the 2nd overall pick in 1939.
Oh, shit. This is making more sense now. There wasn't any colleges around. We'll call it Columbia. What town's it in? Columbia. Perfect. Name it that.
For his stats at Columbia, he was 180 for 376. He threw for 2,413 yards, 20 touchdowns, and then he finished 3rd in Heisman voting. Between 1943 and 1946, he was serving for the U.S. Merchant Marine. It was not allowed to practice with the team, but went and played games. He was the starter for the games, but he just wasn't allowed to practice. And he
That's funny.
he won 4 NFL championships and won the Joe F. Carr Trophy, which is technically the NFL MVP. It was just before it was called just the MVP. And then after he retired, he was the Bears vice president. He was the first ever quarterback coach for the Bears, and it was a part-time position. Then he went on to work his way through Cellucraft, which is a cellophane product company, in which he became their president.
Wowzers. I'm gonna have to do a little research on that one. My 1940s Bears knowledge is pretty limited, unless it's Sid Luckman, and I don't know a damn thing about him. So it might be him, and I don't even know.
There was some stats I saw on the Wikipedia and everything that I was like, if I start throwing this stuff in here, it'll be really easy. But there was so much just like off the wall, like
random.
Technically played at Columbia, but 3 of his years were at the undergrad version of the football team, and the other one was for Columbia.
2 of those he was at a war in Europe.
Also, not great stats in college. Like that's less than 50% completion.
Well, what's your competition? There's only like 14 dudes playing football. I mean, shoot, you probably were the best. Other guy only had 40%.
Oh man. Yeah, so there's those are the 3
that was good. That's good stuff.
All 3
interesting facts.
Bears legends. So
hey, the cool thing is that this segment kind of leads us down these roads of learning really cool and interesting or weird facts about old Bears players. Or
I'm still on the search for Lance Briggs's book. I want to read that.
Lance, get back to us. We'd love to have you on the podcast. Talk about your children's book, or also Matt Forte.
Yeah.
I heard you have a children's book. Is it about catching out of the backfield? Because that's what it should be about.
Those are probably the 3 funniest ones that I've done, or mostly 2 funniest ones. The other guy, the first one had some tragedy in his, but the other 2, just that freaking sausage stat. I knew I had to put that on there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who the first one was, and I made the guess on the second one for who the first one was, because he was on my mind.
All because of the sausage.
Yeah, should have been him. Jeez. But hey, yeah. NFL players, if you're out there, you definitely want to market with sausage coming. Hickory Farms, somebody get out there. Jimmy Dean, get your 8-inch kielbasa's. You know.
Yeah.
Get in those tailgate. You know,
Nathan
make your
Master,
if you're not good at
Nathan's.
yeah, Nathan's famous.
Yeah.
Try to eat 60 of these in 10 minutes. Bet you can't. So, how did we do on the Pick'em games for last week?
You went 4-0, and I went 3-1. I was really expecting the Broncos to at least put up more of an effort against the Ravens, but geez.
Yeah, they kind of showed their true colors, I would say, a little bit there.
Yeah.
But I agree. I just can't trust Bo Nix yet.
Yeah, that was
And I mean,
unfortunate showing.
The train is rolling now with Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It's like, man, good luck tackling that guy. So what do you got for this week? Anything? Any good matchups going on this week?
Yes.
I mean, they're getting better and better now that we're figuring out who the good teams are and who's kind of falling behind. But some of the teams we still don't know, like the Broncos and Rams, might be good now.
Yeah. Right.
They're getting healthy.
All right. So I've got my 4 picks. I'll name mine first that way.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
So first game is Giants at Panthers. I'm gonna go Panthers. I don't know why, but I just want to take a shot at the Panthers and see if they screw up. Trying to get the first pick or something at this point. I don't know what they're trying to do, but
that's how they screwed up by winning games. I agree. What are the Giants doing?
yeah, I don't know. They look as good on the field as they did in Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I think the Hard Knocks is a perfect example of who they are. Which is weird because on Hard Knocks, to me, we look like a really well-established football squad, and now we look like
all I can think about is Caleb Williams' montage of all of his passes. That was still such a cool edit.
Yeah. So, I mean, while we suck at football and calling plays, we are good at editing clips.
Like the Hawkeyes.
So hire the Bears. Hire the Bears to hype your team.
Yeah.
Lions, you need us? We're available. We can podcast for you after when the playoffs start because won't be busy.
Yeah.
I have to talk about somebody.
I just looked over to the start bench cut for a second, and oh man, I have it pulled up, and I just looked at what's coming up, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, someone you like is going home. I'll try to make it as difficult as possible.
So you're going Panthers as well, then?
Giants, Panthers. I'm going Panthers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to take Panthers.
Let's see. Dolphins at Rams. I am choosing the Rams.
That's a good game because it does feel like they're kind of heading both the same direction.
Yeah. I think these are both teams need to figure out kind of where they're at.
And both really need the win. I'm going to go with Dolphins just to kind of be the other side of the coin there because I feel like that is a pick'em game, but I'm not super confident in that. I think this could easily go either way. Maybe whoever has the ball last kind of game.
I think the biggest reason I chose the Rams was basically the home field. But honestly, the only reason that matters isn't because of the stadium in itself and the freaking atmosphere, but mostly the travel.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Because probably there's going to be as many fans for the Dolphins in-house because like Vegas, LA, a lot of those tourist cities.
You take the vacation and you make it a whole freaking
event. Honestly, I lived in San Diego. It was all transplants. When the Bears came to town, it was when the Cubs came to town. It was as many Cubs, Bears fans as there were Padres or Chargers fans. It's just because you're transplants. Everyone is. You know what I mean? There's literally Cubs bars and stuff down in San Diego because we travel well and everyone wants to get out of the Midwest. But I do think, to your point, that the Rams are heading the right direction. Matt Stafford's looking better. He's got some pieces that is some people getting healthy, coming back. I think that all helps.
Only things that scares me is I'm pretty sure Puka is suspended for the week.
Oh, really?
Because of that punch.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Punch.
And that changes things a little bit, but they had somebody step up in his absence.
Reynolds?
One of the young guys. I can't remember who it was, but
he had 2 touchdowns the week before, too. Because they're so focused on the other receivers that they just forget that guy.
Yeah. Then I think, to that point, he's getting some chemistry with some guys in the absence of the others. So, but I am taking Dolphins just to
switch it up a little bit.
See what we can. Yeah.
All right. Third game is Steelers at Commanders. I'm going Commanders. I'm
going Steelers just because I still hate the Commanders right now. They're a good team, but I just hate them. I want them all to get injured. Want them all to get injured and end in a tie. Yeah, I want them to come back down to earth. I just don't think this is sustainable. I just don't. I just don't see it as sustainable. And I just get so mad because I'm him. You got a tip ball, a touchdown, and you won on. Yeah. You didn't score a touchdown all day. You ain't him.
Yeah.
Little skinny ankle. Okay.
I would say
those ankles aren't ankles built to last in the league. I've seen them on RG3. Yeah. Okay, same ankles.
Yeah. I would say Jaden Daniels does look good, but I'm over Jaden Daniels is who the Bears should have picked. I think Caleb is the perfect fit for us. But
no, Cliff Kingsbury, who the Bears should have picked as their offensive coordinator. Yeah. And then it would be fine. We would be having a different conversation, I feel like, but maybe not. Maybe it's the McCaskies.
last one here is 49ers at Bucks. I am going Buccaneers.
I'm going to go 49ers.
Oof. It's
I'm not confident about that.
It's going to be an
The
interesting
Bucks are
week
really
for us.
good. They looked really good. They could have easily won if they won that coin toss, I feel like.
Yeah.
On Monday night. Short week. 49ers, I think, are coming off of a bye.
Yeah.
No?
Yep. Yeah.
Against a team on a short week? I don't know. We'll see. I think that
Trying to talk yourself into it.
No, I am. I'm going 49ers for sure, just to be the opposite of you, but little to no confidence in that.
Yeah. I mean,
if you had a gun to my head, I'm probably picking Bucks, to be honest with
yeah.
you. But no gun to my head, I'm just going to go the opposite because you never know with this team. 49ers might show up and be really good for some reason. They just, it's...
And honestly, the Bucks are pretty hurt, and Baker's just kind of doing it out there by himself and making things work.
But they're a well-coached team, and they find ways to win, too. You know what I mean?
He is fun to watch again. Like, I'm really happy for him because he was a really... I think the Cleveland stuff humbled him up quite a bit, and he is just a great quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun to... I'm for anybody on their kind of redemption arc after being thrown to the wolves, like the Sam Darnold, even though he's doing it with the Vikings. Also proving that I think coaching matters. He went and did that little stint in LA, and that kind of reset him, I felt like.
Yeah.
And now he got his groove back.
Yeah.
And they keep finding ways to win even without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans or whoever. All these pieces kind of keep getting injured and
bunch of wide receivers.
Yeah.
Otten and the guy just got his first ever touchdown on Monday night, and some other random white receiver. Great route runners, kind of guys who'd let you date your daughter, type of receivers.
Yeah, maybe.
All the crazy things.
My daughter's only allowed to date white cornerbacks. That's a way more elite group, dude. Okay.
Coop looks great.
Yeah, I mean, really finally found his groove, kind of growing into his position, and now he's facing ones.
Yeah.
So it's not too big for him, and it's cool to see him out there balling out.
Him and Riley both making Iowa proud. The farmers think they can clamp down some receivers again.
I mean,
his brother's about to go to Iowa too.
You could almost go around the league and find an Iowa player on every team.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I feel like for a school in Iowa, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah. Coop's brother's about to go to Iowa, I think, next year. We
Got
his brother, and then
they've got
AJ
good pedigree.
brother.
Very cool. Now all they need to do is get rid of Ferentz, and I think win some football games.
Just play Brandon Sullivan. Jesus Christ.
It just
so
seems
fun
like
to watch.
If Kirk Ferentz can get out of his own way, that team wins.
Offensive coordinators, like, it is. I texted you. I don't know if you saw it. I texted you. I was like, dude, Iowa with a 21st century offense is actually entertaining. A great defense.
I did see the text. I never texted you back, but I didn't see the game. But some of the highlights, I was like, dang, it looks like SEC football to me. You know what I mean? Like the high flying offenses.
There was one play Brandon Sullivan breaks to the outside, almost drops to his knee, and then cuts up and juked the crap out of their defensive player, and he just ran for 15 yards. It was fun. Like, and then Caleb Johnson's getting 130 yards again, multiple touchdowns. It's fun.
And I mean, that kid needs the attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like he should be more talked about in that Heisman conversation. Let's tell our listeners about Fanatics, and then we'll come back and do start bench cut.
Hey guys, just want to take a break from the podcast to tell you about Fanatics. At Fanatics, you can find everything you need to support your team, from jerseys and hats to hoodies and accessories. They've got it all. It's officially licensed, so you know you're getting the real deal. And here's the best part. We've teamed up with Fanatics to bring you an exclusive offer. When you use the code 24SHIP at checkout, You'll get free shipping on orders over $24. Plus, by using our special link in the show notes on our website, you'll be able to directly support our podcast. So head over to fanatics.com, load up the best Bears gear, and use code 24SHIP for free shipping on orders over $24. It's a win-win. Get to show off your Bears pride and help keep Barely Maintaining going strong. Thank you for your support, and as always, bear down. Now let's get back to
So this week's start bench cut. I made it hard as I possibly could because, well, two of them are starters and one the other player we love and think we should be starting half the time. But this week we have DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, and Caleb Williams, our rookie quarterback. Who you benching, who you cutting, and who you starting?
Oh, this is tough.
It is. You gotta say bye-bye to somebody that's probably pretty good.
Yeah. Oh.
And I mean, obviously, in this situation, we're not talking about penalties on cap, or any of that stuff. So, because obviously all these pieces would carry some weight as far as draft picks or other players. There's value in each one of these guys. So, cutting them isn't like really something you would do. But
so, what's the scenario? Is this at the beginning of this year, or is it like?
No, let's say it's the beginning of next year.
Beginning of
right? Because we have.
Oh Jesus, that makes it harder.
Because we have all these guys, right? So we're going into 2025. Everything's looking good for us, but you have to make a decision because of cap space or whatever here.
Yeah. Okay. I will start with the easy one, and it's not easy for my heart, but it's easy for just in theory. Well,
you cutting Roschon? I mean, really, the option for me.
I'm actually
Roschon and DeAndre.
No. I'm actually thinking I'm not cutting him.
You cutting DeAndre? Or are you quarterback shopping?
Yeah. I'm cutting DeAndre, to be honest. I just thought about Ian Wheeler, and we have a good running back room.
Also, running backs aren't hard to come by,
and he's really expensive.
Caleb Johnson's going to be in this next draft.
Yeah.
That Gianti, I mean, there's going to be some good running backs in this draft.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. I think I might keep Roschon.
Assuming you haven't drafted one,
So I think I'm going Caleb for start bench cut. Caleb, Johnson, Swift.
Gotcha.
Like, Swift is really fun to watch.
For sure.
Age-wise, you're getting, he's not old by any means, but running back.
But running back, right? Yeah. And honestly,
and it's a very Bears thing to do to get rid of a running back after a good year.
Yeah. But while he's good, I don't think he's not a Saquon Barkley, right?
Yeah.
He's not Derrick Henry.
He's not.
And some of these guys coming up might be
over people.
Right. But Caleb Johnson might be.
Yeah.
So why not try to draft a piece?
Yeah.
There. I'm the same way. Because the money that involved in DeAndre Swift, you can get somebody on a rookie contract, right?
Yeah.
That's right behind Roschon now.
Yep.
And Roschon's your go-to guy. So yeah, I'm benching Roschon Johnson. I'm cutting.
I still have a lot of hope for Ian Wheeler. I am rooting for that dude.
Yeah, I am as well.
Yeah, I think both of us
super smart. Obviously, he's a doctor.
Both of us fell in love with him. During
and the injury actually saved his spot.
Yeah. Which apparently,
but
we were just gonna.
If you gave me a choice between him and DeAndre Swift, I'm probably gonna see what the ceiling is on him.
Yeah.
For $6 million a year, the other way. You know what I mean? Because this guy I'm getting for a couple $100,000.
Yeah. And then Homer.
So, Travis Homer.
Oh my gosh, this is so weird. So I just looked up the Bears preseason running backs because I couldn't remember Homer's name. But it's so weird that from 1 to 5, Velus Jones Jr., because Swift didn't play in the preseason.
Right.
Khalil Herbert.
Yep.
Ian Wheeler, Travis Homer, and then Roschon Johnson's listed.
I just don't understand.
Khalil Herbert thing is so confusing.
That's what I was just saying. Khalil Herbert's on that list and like didn't even see him once,
Yeah.
or maybe a few times. Like
I don't remember seeing him in any game.
No, I think I might be wrong, but I thought I read that he had like 4 carries for like 4 yards or something. I was like, when was that?
Yeah. Because I feel like we would have texted each other and been like, "Hey, he was on the field."
Finally. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We will be talking about next week. We'll wrap up the game with the Patriots. Hopefully, we have good things to talk about. We'll see if Eberflus saved his career, saved his job at least for another week. Regardless of that, I think Shane Waldron needs another look. You know, you got to look at him and his play calling. If Eberflus isn't part of that offense of game plan. Special thanks to Julie Burhite and Lindsay O'Brien for giving us the time to do this. It was definitely a long week for everyone in the U.S. and especially on the home front for Ryan and me. So make sure you guys are thanking your wives for keeping you alive, I guess. Special thanks to Treasure Tompkins for listening. Have sweet dreams. And I hope we're still living rent-free in that one guy's head that commented repeatedly on how I should talk. But yeah, tune in next week, episode 19. Can you believe it? We got a Thanksgiving episode. I feel like we might actually beat the Lions on Thanksgiving because they're the Lions still.
Yeah.
And they suck on Thanksgiving. Then again, we might just get our asses handed to us.
Yeah.
So we'll see on that. Got a lot of stuff coming up because the college playoffs. Someone's going to wear a tutu from our fantasy league. And it ain't going to be me because I got a pretty decent record now. I've fought my way back into it with scraps.
Yeah.
Been finding crumbs off the table and putting them in each week. Cedric Tillman from the Browns went off one week. I had him in. Oh, that's a good feeling. It's like you know something about football. Accidentally. Everyone was like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I was just hoping for the best.
I broke down the stats, man.
And I benched DeAndre, and then he just gets picked up by Kansas City. He's like, yay, he's going to do something now. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.